3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, that sounded pretty good. We're getting there.
I didn't hear anything,
That's
but
a good
I'm
sign.
gonna believe you.
Trust me, there's a perfect line where I snap my fingers.
I believe you. Those lines, they always look perfect. I'm gonna close the Paris Syndrome page. All right. So, welcome everybody to GameBusters. This is a podcast from GameLuster.com, and today we are going to be discussing Marvel's Spider-Man for PS4. So,
Wait, we're not discussing the Speedball game?
Speedball?
Yeah, you're not aware of Speedball?
What is Speedball?
He's like Marvel's lower rent Spider-Man.
So they made a second What?
They tried to recapitalize on the success of Spider-Man by creating another science-based nerdy superhero with the power to be very bouncy.
Well, when's
I'm
his
looking up
MCU
Speedball.
debut?
Speedball is a drug. Speedball is a mixture of cocaine with a heroin or morphine and opioid taken intravenously or by nasal insufflation.
So
Type
he's a
comic.
nerd.
Speedball combination used cocaine.
Type Speedball
He's
comics.
also Robert Baldwin from Earth 616.
So he's a partying nerd. I like this.
Oh yeah, no. The association with the drug did exist by the time that the character was created, and a lot of people think that he was named that on a bet.
That's even better.
Okay, great. So notable deaths attributed to Speedball use: River Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, what? What?
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris Farley. No, so this is the thing that gave us Mike Myers as Shrek was Speedball.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, what an opener this has been. I mean, this is an
I've learned
icebreaker
so much.
I've ever
Okay, I'm
had
gonna
one.
close this tab. So anyway, I'm Nirav, and I'm the host today, and I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host Rhi,
Howdy.
and we're joined today by our guest Tim from GameLuster.
Hello.
Sorry, Venom from GameLuster, and Alexi
Gotta
from
get that Parker.
from
Gotta get Peeker.
Okay, all right,
And me.
Alexi
your
from
French
Jo-
Spider-Man, yeah.
from Joe's Pizza or whatever.
C'est moi.
Okay.
Oh, Ladybug. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just kick off with what we're playing this week. Alexi, why don't you kick us off? What are you playing right now?
Well, I have three things to say about video games. The first thing is that I'm still processing and crying over the fact that Marvel Spider-Man 2 is coming.
Hey, we're just so happy.
The second thing is that I'm currently playing the Wii U. Yes.
Oh my god,
because
you dusted it off.
I'm not finished to play Wii games.
Yep.
Yeah, because
That checks out.
I'm playing Sega games on a beautiful 4K screen, which is burning my eyes clearly.
And so you chose to play these 480p Wii games instead through the Wii U?
Exactly, yeah, just to play Sonic and the Black Knights, Dreams, Dreams. I don't care, and Somebody Amigo. Yeah,
Nice, good picks there.
that's true gaming. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Going that out of your way to get to Sonic and the Black Knight is inconceivable to me.
I had to play it. Like I haven't played before, so yeah.
Oh, you haven't? You didn't play it back in the
No,
day?
this was the first time. It's even worse in 2021.
Yeah, if that was possible.
The Sonic story. It's even worse now.
Now with worse story. Did you? By the way, actually, did you pick up Colors Ultimate?
Yes, but I haven't received yet because European physical editions are delayed.
Yeah.
So
That's probably for the
They're
best.
getting here October 1st now.
I actually also play Sonic Colors on Wii for the first time because I finished the DS version back in the day.
Oh, it's like a different game though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, completely.
Yeah, completely.
And so yeah, we're talking about Sonic on the Spider-Man podcast, as always when I'm here.
Yes.
We always have to get Sonic in somehow.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we've gone a single episode without mentioning Sonic, actually. It's been a year and a half.
That's the benchmark for all video games to aspire to.
If anyone like legitimately doesn't want to like hear about Sonic, I cannot believe they're still listening to this podcast. So
This is a Sonic fancast.
Listen, we've all been scarred by Sonic in some way or another.
Yeah, and you can't let it go. You have to. You're eternally scarred. You know. Whenever they announce a new Sonic game, it doesn't matter how many times you've been burnt. You keep going back.
it's like I remember going to when Sonic Forces like released. I was like. I pre-ordered it and I went and I picked it up at midnight and everything, and I was like, I think I even have like an Instagram post of me getting the game, and my post said, "I'm here to play the new worst Sonic game." Woo! Like before I had even opened it, like I knew, and yet I did pre-order it and I went and got it at midnight.
Oh, they've got us by the balls. They know what they're doing.
But yeah,
okay.
I just have to say that playing Sonic and the Black Knight hurt my hand. Like you had to check so much the Wiimote.
Oh, you don't. You don't like waggling the Wiimote?
Yeah, it was hurting me much more than when I'm at the gym. You see, like by checking. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, and the third fact is that I'm planning on starting Psychonauts. Like maybe tomorrow, because well, I'm a bit late for Psychonauts 2. So
I need to get Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
I also need to play Psychonauts 1, not
that
the
would
first
be a good
time,
start.
but I need to play it for my wife, who has never played it and I think would very much enjoy it, but would probably struggle with the weird-ass mechanics.
Yeah, every time I hear people talk about Psychonauts, I've not played it, but like everyone's like, yeah, it's so good, except the meat circus. Fuck the meat circus. And I'm like, what is a meat circus?
It's the meat circus. It's a circus made of meat.
That's what I was worried about.
I can wait.
Like, I'm worried that there is a circus where everything's made of meat.
Specific cuts of meat, yes.
Okay.
What if there's a level in Paris in the game?
That would be nice.
There is not a level in Paris, but there is a reference to it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Tim, what are you playing right now?
No More Heroes 3.
Ooh, yeah.
Great Ace Attorney. The stuff that I've been reviewing for GameLuster. What else? Stuff.
How's
that
No More Heroes 3, by the way? I've not,
it is so. The only part of it that I'm not super sold on is what is missing, and that is you don't get like individual levels for the boss fights, but there's a lot of extra stuff to do in the world to make up for that.
Okay.
And the boss fights themselves are hilarious and awesome.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I've heard pretty much everyone say like, hey, they're really satisfied with it at the very least, and I have seen a good number of fans say it was the best one in the series. So
I would definitely say that it's got one of the better stories. You don't have to play Travis Strikes Back to enjoy it, but it builds on everything that did actually happen in Travis Strikes Back. But it's like everything that's important you get filled in like immediately.
I feel like I remember like pretty much all fans universally were not big into Travis Strikes Back.
Travis Strikes Back is weird, and you have to be ready for the weird that it's putting down. It's a very good game, but it is very different from No More Heroes as a general thing. And then there's the fact that there's two different gameplay modes, but it is a logical stepping stone between No More Heroes 2 and No More Heroes 3 in a lot of ways.
Story-wise?
Story-wise and some of the mechanics.
Okay, cool. All right, nice. Rhi, what are you playing?
I've actually been playing something different this week. Can you believe it? I like stopped.
Is it? Oh, you're playing Dragon Age 2 now?
No, I actually still haven't finished Origins since the last time we spoke. That's so bad. But I remembered I had a half complete. No, I'm actually right at the very end of Greedfall on PS4.
Oh. Yeah, another bad game you like.
Okay, I will fucking defend it. I really do like Greedfall. It's only really good though if you're like so desperate for BioWare content that you will play something slightly worse than most BioWare games. I like it more than Dragon Age Inquisition, actually. That's probably a controversial opinion.
Wow, okay, that's spicy. That's good.
I don't really like Inquisition though, so it's really not that spicy. I just think it does open worlds better, really. and by that I mean it doesn't hold me at gunpoint and force me to spend time in the open world to progress the story like Inquisition does with its weird ass power system it had. Yeah, Greedfall is definitely not going to be for everyone. It's if you really, really, really love BioWare games, then it's very much like very derivative of them to a very self-aware degree. But you know, I really like the lore. If you're into that, then you're gonna have a fun time with it. So yeah, I've been playing through that, slowly getting there with Dragon Age Origins still. I was actually in Scotland for a bit of this week, so I wasn't playing any video games. I was there with my one non-video game friend, so I brought my Switch and everything, and I was like, wait, she has never played one in her life, she will not be interested in this. So it went completely unused, and still ran out of charge while I was there. So thank you, Nintendo, for that. Very good console.
Nice. I have transformed almost all of my friends into video game people slowly. Like, I think I have one like good friend who is not like a video game person at this point. Like, but like it's, I don't know. Like, even I had several friends who had never played a video game before. Like, and then like last year they fell into the same trap that everybody in the world did and bought a Switch and Animal Crossing when the pandemic started.
I was so close to getting my friend to do that. So close. And then like that's why I brought it with me this time. Because I brought Animal Crossing with me. I was like, I'm going to get to play it. Not interested. And I guess we were only there. We were in Edinburgh for like 2 days. So I guess we didn't exactly have the time to sit down and play Animal Crossing. But
yeah. Also, according to my mom, Animal Crossing is the only good video game she's seen. She was like, this is good. Like, all video games should be this.
Can you get us like write an opinion, please? I would love to read that.
That would be good. I think the only video games like that are like not, you know, like just phone games that she's played are a little bit of Animal Crossing and then like Wii Tennis with us.
I still respect her opinion.
Yeah. I think it would be good. It'd be very spicy.
Yeah.
Okay, so
is it a good time to mention also that I'm playing another game on Switch, which is I don't know the name in English, but I'm basically working on my driving license using a Switch game, like for real. Like there's
what's the game called?
In French, it's Code de la Route. It's Code de la Route. But yeah, I think the English name should be like driving school license. I don't know, something like this. But yeah, in Germany, in France, you can learn how to drive using the Nintendo Switch.
That's really interesting. I'm very jealous.
Wow.
It's not.
I think it's called Car Driving School Simulator. Is look like what it's called.
Well, it's basically it's to learn the driving, like I don't know how you say this, the highway. It's not like actually driving. It's
like
the
thing rules, like the highway
the
code
rule
over
exactly.
Here. Yeah.
This is interesting. I did not realize that they did that. Yeah,
it's
nice.
Also available on Steam. But yeah, it's a cool game, really. Yeah.
Back in my day, we used cars to learn how to car.
We used books.
Nice. So I have, as of 4 a.m. Last night, finished Life is Strange: True Colors.
Oh, how is it? I've like ordered it, and my order's got lost, so I'm waiting for it. So please tell me.
Oh my god, it is so fucking good. Like, I am so blown away. It is actually better than the first game. Like,
oh wow, and you fucking love that game, so
I do that. Like, I cannot believe how good. I've been talking with a bunch of people about this. Like, literally the only bad thing I have to say about it is that it's capped at 30 FPS even on next gen consoles, and it's also like there's a few points where the frame rate stutters even then. But like, it does look gorgeous, and it actually has ray tracing weirdly. But like, outside of like performance stuff, like, that is the I cannot tell you like how good all of it is. Like, all of the twists and turns were like so unexpected and so well written. Like, there's so many good characters, and like I like very much felt like the ramifications of my decisions without like being told about them. And like I don't know, it was like the most thrilling narrative I've seen in years. Like, I was just so wrapped up in it. Like, on Friday night, I was up till like 3 a.m. playing, and then like again the next night, like last night, because I was like, I have to finish this. Like I'm so fucking into it, and yeah, like I've been seeing a lot of the same response from other people. So like it is kind of it is interesting because like every time I or like while I was playing through it, so like Don't Nod developed the first developed like Life is Strange 1 and 2, and like after they parted ways with Square Enix, they went on and made a couple other games, Tell Me Why, which they made for Xbox, and then Twin Mirror, which was famously hated. And like I thought Twin Mirror was okay, and I thought Tell Me Why was okay, and like I also thought Vampire was okay, which is the other one they made. But like it's really weird because every single aspect of this game was like, and looking at that versus like Tell Me Why and Twin Mirror, which were like the same kind of game that were made by Don't Nod, like this game does everything so much better. Like this studio Deck 9, like they nailed it. They nailed every single thing about this, and like they do it way better than the people who thought of the idea in the first place.
That's insane. Yeah, I've literally only heard good things about this. We had, I think, 2 people at my website get early copies, and both of them loved it. So I was like, okay, this is insane.
Yeah,
and
it's
especially the story. The character. Everyone loves the main character as well.
Yeah, like and Alex is such a great main character too. The game never tries to like endear her to you. Like she has a lot of issues, and like she has not done some not good things, but like she also has done some good things and is a good person a lot of the time. And like it's really interesting because I was like, this game really, really wants you to understand that like people are layered and complex individuals and can do good things and bad things at the same time.
I think like, that was a criticism of the first one. Characters were good when they needed to be good in the narrative, and then bad when they needed to be bad. Like, yeah. And like in this instance, it's just so, I don't know, like especially with Alex, it's like seeing in like the last chapter like her backstory, where she comes from. It's like, wow, like it is astonishing that she turned out as like sane as she is now, which is like still not great. But yeah, no, I really liked it, and the choice at the end was really, really hard hitting, and it definitely is not like as like corny as like the big choice at the end of the first one, you know? Yeah. But like, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to discuss with people if they chose to, which option they chose for the big decision at the end. Anyway, I can't sing enough praises for it. It is very, very, very close to being my game of the year, but I think Nier is still going to overtake it. Yeah, and I just finished that last night, and then I'm very close to finishing Yakuza Like a Dragon. I beat Redacted Boss. And
Kiryu, we know.
Yeah, does everyone know about Kiryu?
Everyone knows about. Everyone was expecting Kiryu before the game even came out. Yeah, as being at least a bonus boss. So
yeah, I didn't honestly love the Kiryu fight that much. I think the fight against Majima and Saejima was extremely good, though. I really, really liked that fight.
I mean, with Kiryu is the hero, but Majima is the main character. If you get my meaning, yeah.
I don't know, like fighting Kiryu was basically just like me just healing over and over again and just hitting him very slowly, you know?
I mean, that's very accurate. He is a walking tank.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm very near. Sorry.
Everybody else, you're just imagining things in the fight. With Majima, that stuff's actually happening. That's just Majima.
That's true. You're right. I love his like summon ability. He just like has 1,000 electric knives that is running down a skyscraper, and I'm like, this is real. This is happening in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, still an extremely good game. I think I only have, who am I fighting now? Oh, Ishioda. That's where I got kind of stuck on him, and I'm just from how the narrative is going, I believe the only thing after I beat him will be to fight Ryo Aoki. But yeah, I'm very, very invested in that narrative too. Very good game. Anyway, so man, I'm like I'm still reeling from the big twist at the end of Life is Strange. Like it really, like the first one's like big twist was like most people saw it coming like halfway through, and this one, like I don't think anybody saw it until like the very second it happened. It's great. Ugh. Okay. So let's get into it. I've been I've been very excited to do this game because this is legit one of my favorite games, Spider-Man, from the last few years. And man, like I guess maybe let's do this first. Like, I like Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. He has always been my favorite hero ever since I was a kid. I had like a bunch of Spider-Man stuff in my room.
Bless.
Like I was like, I think I legitimately had those like Spider-Man pajamas when I was a kid and everything. Like
You too?
I had Spider-Man shoes.
You definitely still have them now.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I definitely have them here. I wonder if they're still at my mom's house. We'll find out. But like. No, like everything I had, like I don't know. I loved the. I think my introduction to Spider-Man was mostly the '90s cartoon, which I've seen every episode of many times.
Oh yes, with the extremely metal opening.
Yes, and
radioactive spider blood, Spider-Man, radioactive spider. Yeah.
Like what the fuck are they doing? I love it. And then like
that and the X-Men '92 theme are perfect.
Very good. Also, I like that cartoon also has a very, very square-jawed Peter Parker.
Oh, yes.
And it's like, this guy looks like he's a fucking tank. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, Spider-Man is one of, like, the nearest and dearest, like, media things, I guess, to my heart. And I have seen every movie on opening night, and I, have read some of the comics, not all of them, obviously, because I'm not an insane person, but like...
Well, you are an insane person, but you're not that kind of insane person.
Not that kind,
Not that specific. Now, have you seen Spider-Man?
I have seen a few episodes of Spider-Man. Not all of them, but I did check out, I think, 2 of them.
Yes.
And I did have a good time. There was one where there was a big robot that was like leopard print.
Leopardon.
And yes, I remember this robot. If anyone's not familiar, Spider-Man is a live-action TV show. Was it the 70s? Yeah,
1978.
Live-action Spider-Man show in Japan with a Japanese Spider-Man where he fought like giant mechs from space mostly.
That sounds perfect. That's exactly the sort
of vibe it's fantastic.
Spider-Man
has. They were actually not from space. I don't think his robot and his powers were from Planet Spider, but he was fighting Earthbound evil villains.
Okay, that's on me.
Think Power Rangers, but cooler.
Yes, it's actually, like a good power.
It is in fact the predecessor to Super Sentai. It came out, I think, the very year before the first Himitsu Sentai Gorenga.
I knew it.
Wow. Yeah, so what is everyone else's, like, I guess, like, experience?
It also had a crossover with the first Masked Rider, or Kamen Rider.
Yeah. Like, experience / like, I don't know, personal love of Spider-Man as a character.
Just note that Spider-Man is maybe coming back next year in Into the Spider-Verse 2.
Yes.
Oh, that would make sense. That would be very good.
My personal experience. Spider-Man is also my favorite superhero of all time. I don't exactly remember when I got into the hero. Maybe I was watching the cartoons. My parents were buying toys for me or something like this. But what I definitely remember is watching the Sam Raimi's movies.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I still have my Spider-Man 3 tickets.
Hey,
wow!
I still have it, and I also remember going. When I was young, my parents they were giving me a bit of money, each week, and I was using it to buy some Spider-Man comics. And yeah, it was so good, and I just love the hero because he's very optimistic, with everything he's going through. He always brings joy, and he's just so cool. I mean, when you're a kid and you see Spider-Man, you're like, he's so cool. He's so, I don't know. He's like he's like everyone. He's like everyone. I mean, everyone can be Spider-Man. That's why they were saying Into the Spider-Verse, like,
that's the whole thing.
Everyone can be Spider-Man, basically. I mean, if you got bit by the spider, tomorrow, you you definitely will be like Spider-Man. Like, you will you have a lot of issues, like paying your rent, for example.
Yeah, but like that's the whole appeal of him, is that he's just, at the end of the day, superpowers aside, you know, he is just someone who always, if he has the opportunity to do good, he always wants to do it, and he, you know, he sees it as his responsibility. If he can do something, he should be doing something, and it's just such a wholesome message. I mean, I got into Spider-Man like quite late. I wasn't into like superheroes as a kid. I was probably like 10 when I got into them, and that's when I watched the Sam Raimi movies for the first time. And I like binged them all back to back, and I just absolutely like fell in love with the character. I actually recently rewatched the movies about like a month ago, and they hold up so fucking well. Like even Spider-Man 3 is like nowhere near as bad as I think people say it is.
It's weird because like I also went back to it. This was a few years ago, but I also went back to it and I was like, this is worse than I remember.
Oh my god, no, it was like infinitely better than I remember.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's objectively the worst of the three movies. But what gets me is that nearly every problem, it was supposed to just be a Sandman movie, and the studio said, no, you've got to have the black suit, and no, you've got to have the Goblin.
You can tell.
Was it like merchandising stuff, like they wanted more toys?
I reckon so. Because I can remember like being around, you know, being conscious around that time. I think like it was just Venom merch everywhere back then.
There was. You're right. They put Venom on fucking everything.
We started the Raimi-verse.
For sure. But
I mean, we're just this December.
What I love
be there.
What I love about the Sam Raimi movies really is that it's the one that really honed in on how his life fucking sucks, and like that's the magic of him, is that like New York as a city is just so against him. He has to pay like ridiculous amounts of rent. The more he helps, the more like the city pushes back against him. But he does it anyway because it's worth it if he saves like one person's life that day.
Yeah,
and
that's a great point. I think
they really hone it. Like New York has so much personality in those films. Like I mean, it's so cheesy, and I know like we look back and laugh at it, but like even the like the subway scene is still so good. You know, just the lengths he'll go to help everyone, and it's like almost comical how much his life sucks sometimes in those films.
Can you imagine the subway scene nowadays? Like, we won't reveal who you are.
No, that's the way I would know.
We won't say a thing, you know. And nowadays they be like, click, "Can I get a selfie?" Can I get a selfie?
There's like this...
He's just a kid, no older than my son.
There's like this one scene in the second.
This will get me lots of clicks on Instagram.
Like in the second film, there's that bit where he's at that like gala, I guess, that ball where he's like taking pictures of everyone, and like he's realizing his job is like paying him fuck all. He can't pay rent, and then as he's taking pictures for this like probably less than minimum wage job, Mary Jane gets engaged to someone else, and then like I actually laughed out loud at this bit. He like goes to get like a glass of wine from on the way, isn't it fucking empty when he goes to drink it, and it's just like it's funny how much his life had to suck in these films. Like it's just like constantly,
it legitimately is funny. That's a good point.
But like I guess the fact that his life sucks, but he's still out here trying to save people, it just shows you what a nice person he is. And I love the new Spider-Man. Like Tom Holland is just, in my opinion, the best one. But I really hope they sort of go back to that a bit more, and I think we're going to get that in the next one.
I think they are trying to a little, especially because like they've talked about, Marvel's talked about the fact that like the Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness are like very directly connected and happen one after another. Ooh. And like Sam Raimi is doing the Multiverse of Madness too, which is a little bit of a hint.
Yeah. Oh no. So if we're not getting other Spider-Men in a, the movie that's introducing the multiverse to the MCU, officially introducing, because that was in Endgame.
It was in Shang-Chi also.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But yeah, no, they're missing out. The only way that they could, be even more, the multiverse would be to get Brian Braddock in there somewhere, because like that's the one that gave us the official multiverse explanation originally, was Captain Britain.
Look,
there's a Captain Britain Spider-Man, which is so weird.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, to correct something I said earlier, Spider-Man was not before the first Super Sentai team, but it was right before the first one to have a giant robot in it, and the one that came after Spider-Man was a Marvel co-production, as were the next two, which is ridiculous.
Interesting. I did not know Marvel was part of that.
Yeah.
Okay. What were you saying, Alexi?
No, I was just saying that at least we're, in Spider-Man No Way Home, we're getting for sure J.K. Simmons back. And
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We have Willem Dafoe coming back. You heard his creepy fucking laugh. No one else laughs like that. Like,
why does it always have to be Willem Dafoe? Why can't it be Willem Defriend?
I love Willem Dafoe's like fucking character actor ass face. Like he could walk into any building. Like if you're having like a nice dinner with your family and like Willem Dafoe like walks by the table and says "Have a good night," like your whole night is ruined. It's like there's no way out. Anyway, so let's start talking about the game though. So let's get into it. I have a little bit of an outline here for some history. What was really interesting is that Sony and Marvel getting together on this game was actually a result of Sony like kind of trying to figure out an exclusive Marvel project they could have. It was not Insomniac's idea to kind of go for Spider-Man. So, and by the way, if anyone doesn't know, Insomniac at the time that they started working on this was not owned by Sony. They are at this point in time, but at this time they had been, working with them, of course, making the exclusive Ratchet and Clank games, earlier on making the exclusive Spyro games for them. So Sony and Insomniac have had a very, very long running relationship, and them buying them out was kind of a matter of time. But Sony's vice president of product development, Connie Booth, had a meeting with Insomniac Games, who the CEO is Ted Price, and Insomniac had just put out their Xbox One exclusive game, Sunset Overdrive. Have y'all played that one?
Yes. Once it came to PC.
Mm-hmm. I played it a little bit on PC too. I put in like a few hours into it. I don't know. Rhi, have you played any of it?
No.
No, still a garbage person. Yeah. All right. Sunset Overdrive, if anyone's not familiar, is a very wacky, over-the-top, third-person shooter superhero kind of a thing.
Like an even sillier version of Saints Row.
Yes, it is a sillier version of Saints Row with Spider-Man-ish mechanics.
It's coming back to me because I really wanted to play it, but like, I'm sorry, I was a Sony pony that generation, so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're getting your Series X soon. It's on Game Pass.
I fucking hope I am. If it comes back in stock.
Sure. They were apparently they did not have a formal agreement in place for this, but Sony and Insomniac kind of were like, okay, Insomniac agreed, yeah, like we'll think about doing a Marvel property. At this point in time, Insomniac had never made a game that was not their original IP. Of course, they again started with Spyro, then went to Ratchet and Clank, and then Sunset Overdrive, and then did they do anything else in the interim there? I can't remember. I'm sure they have more. Who's our data person on this podcast? I think it's me. Yeah. Hold on.
Resistance. But like, they also made
Resistance. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. I knew there was another one. Let's see. Oh, they made Song of the Deep as well. I did not know that was them. Wow. Okay, so anyway, Insomniac was a little bit resistant to this at first because they had, again, only worked with original IPs before, and apparently the staff there was like really resistant to like doing a Marvel property. But that all changed. So Marvel's video game strategy kind of changed because up till then they had basically only been doing movie tie-ins, right? And shout out, of course, to Spider-Man 2, the movie, the video game, which is like still to this day the best movie tie-in game ever made. Yeah, I will stand on that hill.
It was also the very direct inspiration for the swing physics in Spider-Man 2018.
Yes, it absolutely was. And there's actually, we'll talk about it when we get there, but there's a few references to that game in this one. Marvel had, again, only done movie tie-in stuff, but they had started to realize, this was an interview with Jae Ong, who is the senior vice president of Marvel Games. He said that they had started to realize that by doing movie tie-ins, they were not giving adequate time to developers, because from the conception of a movie to the release of the movie is not enough time to make a game. And so he said, like, we are going to start using these properties that we have to make individual games and give like a new view of the character, basically. So starting with this, they did not want it to be based on an existing movie or a comic book story, and so really what ended up happening is that Marvel approached Insomniac and said, we have a whole slate of characters here. We want you, your studio, to specifically do this game for us. Like, what do you want to be? And the team said they wanted Spider-Man. Obviously, they want Spider-Man.
Who wouldn't? I mean...
So the creative director for Spider-Man was Brian Intihar over at Insomniac. And so this is a quote from him. I feel like he's the most relatable of the heroes. As much as I love Tony Stark, it's hard to identify with the billionaire. As much as I love Thor, it is hard to identify with a god. Peter makes mistakes. He has ups and downs in his career and his relationships and his family. And I think we can all relate to that. He is so... And then he said, he's so human and so relatable. He's also the most popular Marvel character in the world, though. So that's true. That's fair. Mm-hmm. Ted Price, over the CEO of Insomniac, also said that they did go for Spider-Man because they realized that they could use their physics engine from Sunset Overdrive for Spider-Man pretty easily with a few modifications. Which is, yeah, you can definitely see a lot of Sunset Overdrive as a prototype for Spider-Man if you play it.
Yeah. In some ways it makes the game a lot more palatable. No.
Okay, Sunset Overdrive it's fun. It's not like a great game, but it is a fun game.
Yeah.
So the team members were like pretty daunted at first because Spider-Man was so ridiculously popular, and there were like so many versions and iterations of his story around the whole world. You know, like we were just talking about Spider-Man, but like there's a whole like long run of an Indian Spider-Man too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like there have been, you know, dozens and dozens of Spider-Mans of different ethnicities and backgrounds all over the world with comic runs, TV shows, all that stuff. And Spider-Man is the most popular superhero in the world. The property is bigger than like, you know, all of the or what am I saying, like Batman is like the only property that even comes close to being this large, you know what I mean? So the art director was Jacinda Chu, and so she was like, yeah, I think that what we want to do is like combine basically all these things that I can find and work with the Marvel staff of the writers of the comics to kind of create a new story. Like they very, very early on threw away the idea of adapting something that already existed, which I think is great. I'm so happy they did that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they used Insomniac's proprietary engine that was developed for Sunset Overdrive, and they modified it. And they announced the game at E3 2016 at Sony's press conference. Was anyone watching during that?
Yes.
I remember I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was so fucking hyped. That was the one that closed the conference, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
But it was very, very hyped, and I remember looking at that and being like, that's coming out in 9 years. Which it actually came out pretty quick, considering they showed it in 2016 and then it came out in 2018 summer. So
I mean, it looked to be mostly done when they showed it off. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was just like, I can't get excited for this. I can't be hurt. You know, like you can't do this to me, Sony.
I already watched it.
Not after Spider-Man 3, the game.
You know that there's actually a prototype of Spider-Man 4 that was released like a few days ago.
I saw that just last week.
Yeah. By the people who made the prototype games. And it hurts. It hurts to see the Spider-Man 4 logo for starters.
The prototype games are also basically just like
they're
sort
Venom
of a
games.
Spider-Man game.
They're Venom games.
They're Venom games. They're absolutely Venom games. Yeah, 100%. So like I said, was announced there, and let's see here. So Intihar was working with a large team of writers, and they had John Paquette lead the creative, or the narrative team rather. And so what they wanted to do was they wanted to tell like a story that made a compelling, like, new Spider-Man without making it similar to any of the existing ideas. And they said the core idea of their narrative is that whenever Spider-Man wins, Peter Parker loses, and vice versa.
Oh, I like
and like
that.
I like this idea a lot because as I think about it, I think that's pretty much like a very core conceit of this character.
It is,
like,
yeah, that absolutely is.
I think you can even see that in all the movies and everything. We were just talking about like every time like Peter especially in the Raimi trilogy, like Peter's life is like so fucked up, and yet like but he always makes this decision to like keep Spider-Maning and like doing good things, and like at the sacrifice of his own personal life, and like and then when he decides to do the inverse in Spider-Man 3, well, the audience loses, I guess.
Yeah, the biggest turning point in the comics, well, not the biggest, maybe one of the biggest, but the first big turning point in the comics was the Gwen Stacy death.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, from that moment, the readers knew that everything can happen in the Spider-Man stories, and that he doesn't always win. And yeah, that
it's yeah.
Go on.
I mean, technically,
sorry,
that's been there
like,
from the very beginning with Uncle Ben, but it hadn't shown up for quite some time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Isn't the name of the issue like the death of Gwen Stacy or something?
Bit of a spoiler.
No, that's what it's called.
Is that just what it's called? Okay.
Yeah,
I like
it's
feel
not.
like I've
In
seen
fact,
that.
what is the name of that issue? But it's like
I'm not sure.
A life hangs in the balance or something.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
What's the title of
Hold
that?
on.
Yeah, he looks. I think that scene, like, I know people like shit on the Amazing Spider-Man movies a lot. That scene was done really well.
It was, yeah. I mean, like, they weren't completely terrible.
No, they weren't. They had a lot of good stuff going on.
Did.
Also, that like, I don't know, that the problem with doing the Gwen Stacy dies is that like Gwen Stacy and Peter's like chemistry was the only good thing about those movies.
But
so like,
what happened next in the comics is that the Green Goblin dies after that. Like,
yes.
because he's the reason Gwen Stacy basically is dead.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, just like the Sam Raimi's movie, like he dies like because of his glider. You know?
Yeah. And he's like, "You killed," and then James Franco's like, "You killed my father." Yeah. I remember seeing somebody like be like, "Oh, I wonder if James Franco's gonna come back as the Hobgoblin." I was like, I really doubt it at this point.
Probably not.
I don't know if you've been looking at the news.
Yeah, no.
So, like I said, this game, they wanted the story to kind of be, they wanted you to be just as invested in Peter Parker's story as Spider-Man's story.
Okay,
and
so
I think they really did a good job on that in the game.
Yeah. By the way, the issues are called Turning Point and Goblin's Last Stand, respectively.
The Turning Point. Yeah, I remember that. You're right. Okay, so they also said like they made a hard decision at the very beginning to not do an origin story because everyone already knew it.
Oh,
and I thank them greatly for
yeah,
that.
Thank
Poor
God.
Uncle Ben. How many times did he die?
Yeah, it's just like the Batman Arkham games. Like, you already know who is Batman. You already know who is Spider-Man. You don't need to know that again in the game. And that's what's fantastic in this game. In those games is that you discover some new stories around those characters, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but in the Batman Arkham games and in the Spider-Man games, you collect artifacts that tells you that this moment you saw in the comics and this moment you saw in the movie, they happened in the game, and that's really interesting.
You go out of your way, you find them, you get a little Easter egg, but they don't beat you over the head with it. Like,
right.
Like in Arkham City, you can go find Crime Alley. You can go see where Batman's parents died, and somebody has very garishly made a permanent chalk outline of their bodies. Which, well, not a chalk, but a paint outline.
That's just rubbing it in
and you can
point.
pay your respects there. But other than that, at no point does Batman go, "My parents, this, that, the other."
This is when my parents died.
Yeah.
I think the intro of the Telltale game is like a Batman standing over the city. It's like, my parents were killed when I was a child by bats or whatever.
Like, yeah, get over it, dude. I mean, it's been like,
get over
all that
it, man.
money, he can afford therapy. I mean,
yeah. And speaking,
this
I mean,
is what his
it might be a good
therapist
time
told
to
him to
mention,
do.
like,
No.
primary gameplay and game design influence for this game was the Arkham series.
Yeah, definitely.
And it comes through very
Very much
easily
shows.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. I mean, like, you know, when people do something right, I'll learn from it, and you know, I don't have a problem with that. So of course we know Yuri Lowenthal is the voice of Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and does the motion capture as well. So I found this to be interesting. Not only did he do facial motion capture, but he did also do like full body motion capture for all of the Spider-Man stuff, which is really awesome. I had not thought that. I guess I assumed it would be like a stunt double or something.
I don't think he did it for the action scenes. I think he did it for the Spider-Man in the more casual stuff, because there's literally stuff that, unless Yuri Lowenthal was in a full body harness, they couldn't have gotten proper mocap for. That's Spidey.
Yeah,
does.
like right. Not like, it's not like somebody was like really actually doing the physical tricks he was doing.
Yeah.
But no, but he did work with two stunt coordinators, and they did use like harness technology and all that stuff to get a lot of that stuff. So let's see here. Okay, so Paquette, who, if you remember, was the narrative director, was like, they really wanted the focus of this story to be Peter's relationship with Otto Octavius, who I have to say, like, this is something that I think about constantly. Like, I think I mentioned somewhere, like, while talking about something online, like, oh, like, Dr. Octopus, something about him in this game, and then somebody was mad at me because they're like, I didn't know Dr. Octopus was going to be in this game. And I was like, well, Otto Octavius is in it. He's like, I didn't know he was going to become Dr. Octopus.
How do you... What?
That's nothing.
He's called Octopus because his name is Octavius. He literally decided on his theme because of his name.
Come on.
He created extra arms just so he could have the fun of it.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. And, yeah, so Otto Octavius, of course, like, I have to say, like, I love Alfred Molina's take on Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2. Like, I think I might actually like this one better, like this take on Doc Ock. I really enjoy his kind of, like, I don't know, I feel like both of them did a really good job making him, like, a relatable, multi-layered person, but, like, man, this one, like, I think they pulled some tears out of me in that last scene in the skyscraper in this game.
Yeah. When he calls him like, come back, yeah.
Yeah, that part. Oh my god, dude, that fucking destroyed me.
Yeah.
But you can also, he is both sympathetic and reprehensible at the same time.
Yeah, which is great. They also said that they wanted they like were working with his, you know, classic bowl cut hairstyle and his and the weird green glasses, but then like chose to kind of modernize his appearance to make him just look like a human might look. I love the man. I still I think I like the look of like the design wise though. Like, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock is like the best looking by far. Like, just the fucking the like trench coat and the sunglasses, like it's like iconic in a weird way for being so simple.
He was probably the best person to be chosen to physically portray Doc Ock and make him look at all like believable. Yeah,
I agree. So let's talk about Mary Jane Watson, everyone's favorite character to play as in this one. So I would love to ask, like, how do you guys feel about the Mary Jane sections? Because I think that's like maybe one of the biggest contention points of this game.
Like, I don't know, like, they're just those sequences. They're just there. I mean, you play them. And,
they are just there.
Yeah,
You're right.
That's all. I mean, what can I say more about this? I mean, it's interesting to know play other characters because you also have some sequences with Miles, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Without any powers, though, I will also add.
It's interesting, but I mean, it's like 30 minutes of gameplay out of the whole game, and you don't have powers,
But it's not like what you're doing is difficult, and if you screw up, oh no, redo the last 5 seconds.
Okay, so you know how people don't like forced stealth missions, but like, what if they made you do that, and like you were a character that like could only just crouch and walk, and that was it?
You mean in most forced stealth sections?
Yeah, like
because in most forced stealth sections, no matter how many nuclear warheads you are packing, you die immediately if you fuck up.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just like, imagine in the Batman Arkham game, like Batman is like, I have to go back to the Batcave, and then just after that you play Alfred cooking, just cooking, cooking and everything.
Metal Gear Alfred, just like it's like
the thing is,
Master Wayne.
If you were going to play Alfred, you would actually be more lethal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Alfred's That's like true. A fucking like master of martial arts.
Alfred is an ex-SAS.
Yes, you're right. I remember that now. Okay, this is good. I like the idea of like infiltrating like a Soviet base, but like, you're Alfred and you're like, Master Wayne, I'm approaching the nuclear warheads. And like Batman is like sitting in the cave just like watching through a monitor.
So this is basically just if Christopher Lee was still alive, he'd just be telling Batman about the time Alfred and he infiltrated a Nazi base and blew it up together.
Oh, that would be good. And then he does like a naked cartwheel at one point.
Yeah, none of this sounds
this game's got a little crazy.
Well, the thing is, I would 100% believe it if Christopher Lee was involved, because that is exactly the sort of shit he actually got up to during World War II.
Oh yeah, I forgot he did that.
Yeah, he's like scarily a badass.
Yeah, the Minister of the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Oh wow!
And Christopher Lee is one of the several inspirations for James Bond.
That's awesome. I miss him. He's a good dude. So yeah, like I do have to say, character-wise, this is hands down the best depiction of Mary Jane Watson I have seen.
I mean,
I'm
very happy with it.
I don't
not
know
that
about
hard
overall, but yeah, definitely the best in a video game.
I in a video game for sure, and like I also don't know that I would like count like the current MJ into that grouping. I don't think she's like supposed to really be the same kind of character.
No, she's got the same name, but she's
meant to have like,
barely the same character.
Yeah, she's like got the same role as the love interest, which I guess is why they went with the whole MJ like name. But I think that was a good decision to sort of depart from the other, because I
kind of was like, I think my I like the idea that like you do have to deal with like a lot of Peter's other personal problems, you have to deal with his sort of like whatever like marital issues with Mary Jane. Yeah. I do think that this game went a little bit overboard with it, and like I think that whole thing lasted a little too long. Just for me, like I really do wish that like that had been more of a subplot than like a plot for the entire duration of the game.
Well, I thought they were trying to milk it for comedy rather than full on like. But then again, I played it and then immediately went into the DLCs where the Black Cat showed up, and they had fun with that.
Oh yeah.
So I never thought that was being milked in so much for drama, so much as it was like, oh, that wacky Peter. But no, I can see why it could stay a little too long for some people. They were trying to they were definitely.
The reason sorry.
Oh, I was saying they're definitely trying to thread the line to have just enough, but without going over.
The reason that I think this is the best depiction of Mary Jane is because this is the only one that has had like real true agency, I think, and like has been not a supporting character, but like is legitimately doing her own stuff and is like, hey, Peter, can you help me with the thing I'm doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's actually...
this is not the first time... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, like, she's the one thing about the Raimi trilogy that's aged like god awfully is its depiction.
Oh yes,
so much. Actually, I remembered it. I thought it was quite inoffensive back in the day when I was a stupid little kid. Now that I'm a less stupid adult, it was actually painful going back to it at times. She contributes nothing, and she actually makes no sense in her own mind half the time. She has like 5 different love interests in these films, and she doesn't seem overly interested in any of them. She's only with them because it sort of creates tension for the plot, like, you know, oh, is Peter gonna get with her? Yeah. Is he gonna pull her away from this guy who she clearly isn't interested in? She seems like annoyed with them half the time. But, like, she agrees.
Was she, like, dating Jameson's son at one point?
She not just dating, right? She gets engaged to him and then has the audacity to, like... God. She finds out about Peter being Spider-Man at the very end. And it's very clear that she likes him and they're going to get together. But she waits until their wedding day to, like, finally make the decision and go, you know what, maybe I should be with Peter. You know, that there was like probably like a 2-week gap in between finding out he's Spider-Man and the wedding, where she probably could have done it in a less dramatic fashion than running, you know, away in her wedding dress to go to Peter's apartment. Yeah, so
and I want to make
she makes no internal sense in. I don't know MJ's a wild card in the Raimi trilogy.
Yeah, and I want to be clear, like I don't blame Kirsten Dunst for any of that. She's working with the material she's given. I don't think she did a bad job.
Yeah,
in any
having
way,
seen like her and other stuff now, she's actually a really fucking good actress. But
yeah, she's pretty good.
Had nothing to work with in then.
So I got some big old spoilers coming for you here. Cover your ears.
All right. Oh dear.
So anyway, so like I said, they added Miles Morales as a younger character so that people could work with, you know, they wanted the younger audience to kind of connect more with Miles, since Peter was sort of older and a more developed character in this.
By older, you mean in his mid-20s.
It's a old Peter.
It's far from the oldest he's ever been, but yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
but anyway, before we go on real quick, it's not the first time that she's had agency, but it is a very recent development of her being interested in investigative journalism, and I think it comes from one of the spin-off comics, like one of the many AUs. Right.
Yeah, like I do like, and I think her job as a reporter works a lot better than her being like a model, I think, which is what she was in a lot of other instances.
Yeah.
And she was also a she had another job that like kind of gave her.
She was an actress in the movies.
She was an actress, yeah. Anyway,
but what's also really good is that, just like the comics, you know, MJ, she points out that she was really like scared when Peter goes on his adventure. Like she had to patch him up a lot of times. You know, when he encounters enemies and so on. And in the game, she says that she couldn't do it anymore. And that's really interesting. This point, yeah, you know, where MJ, like Peters needs MJ, but I don't know, yeah, I don't know how to say it. Like MJ is like really, really important in the comics, and just like in the game, you know, Peter, he needs MJ because MJ, she's one of the few person that knows his identity, and she can like help him a lot.
Yeah, and I think that character, I don't know. I feel like I see too many people being like hating on the whole character of Mary Jane, when like I think the thing is that she's just suffered at the hands of some shitty writers is all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So when Insomniac kind of pitched the story that they had in mind to Marvel, they said that no, you're not allowed to kill Aunt May. Like, nobody can know. And they were like, well, no, everybody knows Aunt May's gonna die.
Yeah, this moment. And oh my
God. They apparently had to fight. Insomniac had to fight Marvel on that for like quite a while into development before they allowed them to make that story decision.
And it was one of the best decisions they've made, because let me put it as a longtime fan who has gotten sick of the fact that Aunt May has come back to life 5 times. Aunt May needs to rest. Let her go.
Let her rest.
It wasn't Peter's marriage that needed to die. It was Aunt May.
Yeah. Whoa.
So, an original character created for this story, who I actually really ended up enjoying, was Yuri Watanabe.
Watanabe, yeah.
Watanabe, yeah. And she was sort of a kindred spirit police chief captain who works kind of with Spider-Man in a begrudging way, kind of like a friendly...
Not Spider-Man, Spider-Cop.
Yeah. No, Spider-Cop is a different Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I hate that.
He canonically exists. Because
I know.
every Marvel property exists in the big Marvel multiverse, including Spider-Man.
You know, in the comics, even Todd May became Spider-Man. So.
Mm-hmm. So has Mary Jane at some points.
Yeah, I do remember.
Everybody's here.
Yeah.
Everybody's here.
Yes. Okay. Super Spider Bros Ultimate. Yeah.
This is a side note. Did anyone watch the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Not yet.
There is like a very fun subplot in it where Titus, who's like trying to make it on Broadway, like gets cast in an off-Broadway play called Spider-Man 2: Too Many Spider-Men, and like there's like 15 Spider-Mans like swinging around on stage, and it's like a parody of that Spider-Man musical that got canceled on Broadway because someone like almost died.
Oh my god.
Do you know about that one, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark? That was supposed to be a Broadway like musical, and it was so fucking dangerous swinging around that they had to cancel it.
Jesus.
But like anyway, there's like a song he sings like, and I'll kill this Spider-Man, and then that other Spider-Man, and all the Spider-Men until I'm the Spider-Man. So fucking dumb. I love it's just like kind of making fun of the whole multiverse
by the way,
thing, but
Yuri was not original for the game, but she was barely known before that. But she's actually very similar, and I suspect, I am not 100% sure, that they picked Yuri specifically so that they could get Yuri Lowenthal's wife to play, like to get them to play each other, and have Yuri Lowenthal call somebody else Yuri all day to drive him insane.
Oh, what is her name?
Yuriko Watanabe. Or do you mean?
Oh, that's her like real human name.
Yeah, her
the actress.
The actress is Tara Platt.
Okay, I was curious.
In also on the comic note, there's a very very big event that was released. I'm not sure, maybe in 2019 or something like this, which is Spider-Geddon. This is the name of the arc. The arc is Spider-Geddon. And you have like all the Spider-Man in it, like even a Spider-Man riding a horse, you see? And what's interesting is that they put the Spider-Man PS4 in it, like he really exists in the comics also now. He's like part of the comics, the Spider-Man PS4 from Insomniac. And that's really cool, like he's canonical now.
Oh yeah, no, everything Marvel is canonical in some way or another.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Well, it's like not anymore.
Star Wars is canonical to Marvel. Because Star Wars was published by Marvel for a while.
Doctor Who's also canonical to Marvel.
It is,
that was published there. Yeah. I will say that Insomniac has noted in retrospectively that their narrative was very police apologist in tone, and they address it a little bit more directly in Miles Morales, which is good. I think that maybe Miles Morales came out at a difficult time, of course. Like people were still the whole thing was still going on with the protests and everything, and I mean still going on obviously now, but like it's I think when I played Miles, I like was a little bit more aware of like working alongside the police and like the implications of that for this young black man, and like they do address it in the game, perhaps not to the detail or degree which it would need to be in real life, but like they don't like shy away from it, which I have to say is like good. Like it's interesting, like Miles does address the fact that like the police will work with him, but like the second that he takes off this mask, like he's not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I was originally thinking like, oh, we'll talk about Miles Morales. Obviously not. This is like much too huge of a game. We'll do a separate episode on Miles. But like, I am maybe in the minority, very small minority. I think I enjoyed Miles Morales more than the PS4 Spider-Man. I know it's like a lot shorter and everything, but like I liked the character Miles a lot more than I guess Peter. I found Miles to have a much more interesting story to follow for me, and like he was just a lot more relatable to me personally.
I mean, he's at the start of his story, and just getting used to things, whereas we're definitely getting to see a Peter that is, if not retiring, is definitely at a much later stage in his life and development, and is looking to settle down in some ways, not necessarily stop being Spider-Man, but start being just Spider-Man and start being Peter Parker. And is actually learning how to balance those without losing things.
Yeah.
So I guess I can see that. And mechanically, no. Miles Morales is just oodles better. There's just so much more
quote
good.
Unquote, Venom
and it's not to say there's not a good story in Miles Morales. There is. It's amazing. There's just more overall good story in 2018. And I hope we get more good story for both boys in Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
I just hope we don't have to catch pigeons anymore in the next one. That's all. No birds.
Oh, pigeons. Yeah, I was.
Pigeons,
yeah, no. Yeah. I did that one. I did it. I did it. And
I never had a problem with the pigeons myself, to the point where, especially in Miles Morales, I know that they had. I actually had to do it on a replay to actually hear Peter's pigeon facts, because I caught the pigeons and it's like, okay, pigeon fact section is ended. It's like, oh, I thought I was going to have a funny bit there.
I love those pigeon facts.
Yeah.
There was one specific pigeon that took me a very long time to catch. It was about 15 minutes of chasing a single pigeon.
Really?
And that was sort of where the frustration began.
It never took me more than 2 minutes for even the worst pigeon.
But it's so cool to have the radio now that you mention it. You know, the radio in this game is so cool, especially the Jameson facts. I love it.
Yes. So, if you're not aware, Jameson in this game is Alex Jones, and he has sort of a conspiracy podcast where he's sort of like a crazy conspiracy man, and basically finds a way to tie back pretty much every problem in the world to the homeless or low income workers, things like that. And mentioned Spider-Man, Spider-Man kind of being involved with a lot of these conspiracies too. Things weren't so bad before Spider-Man showed up.
I really like that that's where, in the MCU as well, that's what they're heading with his character. He is just Alex Jones now. He definitely has been banned from YouTube. That's such a good progression for his character.
It's very good. So, as far as the New York map, they said it was divided into 800 tiles, and each one was about 128 square meters. So, as each playable, as your character moves through it, the out of view tiles are loaded one by one.
Yeah.
So they load them in little boxes there. When moving at Spider-Man's top speeds, they have to load a new tile every second. So they that is some phenomenal work, because this is a seamless open world.
Yes.
Yes.
It is phenomenal optimization.
It is not a 1-to-1 by any means. They cut out about a third of the city.
For sure.
Even the just doing broad strokes. Literally, when we were playing the game, sometimes our friends would be playing it, and Kate would be they couldn't figure out where to go. When there was just, okay, I gotta get to here. It's where's here? It's oh, go up this way, go up this way. Kate would give them directions. But also, when we first got the game, Kate and I looked up a bunch of landmarks, and we tried to find Kate's favorite theater, and we couldn't.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Literally, they just erased that one street. It was a side street just off of Broadway.
I very rarely get to look around areas that I've lived in, but in games. But the one time I did was in Telltale's The Walking Dead, because that actually does take place in Savannah, where I live. And I actually walked by, I remember in the last act of the game, when they're on River Street, I actually was walking around the street, and I was I was here 2 days ago. This is exactly how it is. It was
cool.
Really exciting. Yeah, it's there's the ice cream shop, there's the Greek restaurant, etc.
I think some people had this with Assassin's Creed games. The Unity in Paris. I can definitely not recognize my house in it, since it's during the French Revolution. But
sure,
after I played it, I had the impression that I could climb the Notre Dame. So it's so weird. You're I climbed that in the game, but I can in real life. But yeah,
give it a go. I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
Yeah, definitely not.
Wait, did they finish rebuilding that?
No, not at all. We're French. What do you expect?
In about 200 years, they'll have it done just in time for it to catch on fire again.
I completely forgot. I feel like so much crazy shit has happened that, like, Notre Dame burning down was only the news for, like, 2 days because then some other crazy shit happened.
Well, it didn't actually burn down. It was on fire and was severely damaged, but most of it was still
Yeah.
intact.
But, like, imagine if COVID didn't happen. That might have been the craziest story to kick off the 2020s. But it just isn't now because it kind of got overshadowed by that whole global pandemic thing. So now that's just a sort of a footnote now in the craziness of the 20s.
What pen? What? I'm not.
Panorama.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a gorgeous view in the 2020 now.
Yeah, I love like when people are just like, "How dare you?" Like, we're in a panorama, you know. Like, well, my thing is sort of I've fallen back on is like right now we're in a Panda Express.
There's like this meme. I'm sure you Americans used it too. It's like there's like a bridge, a big hole in Japan, and like the day after that, it's already fixed. But in France or United States, it takes like 20 years for this hole.
The trick is in America, you have to doodle a penis around it.
Oh, yeah, we've started doing that over here as well. Actually, when you get potholes in the road, if you put a dick on it, then the council sees it obscene and actually has to cover it up. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, like, one really fun reference that this game does have to the Spider-Man 2 on GameCube PS2 was that if you go to, there's a pizza shop in town called, like, Joe's Pizza. You can't go inside, but if you walk by it, you can hear the music playing, like...
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Actually, isn't that where they go for several of the casual scenes?
I think they do have dinner outside there one time.
Yeah, there's Stanley. Yeah. There's Stanley.
Yeah.
And Stanley. Thank you. I knew I was forgetting that. Yeah. Stanley has a great cameo in this game. He like looks at Peter and Mary Jane. He's like, I was always rooting for those two kids.
Yeah.
Excelsior. I don't remember what he says. It's like,
respect the man.
Not as good. It's not as good as his cameo in Into the Spider-Verse.
No,
but only because he had
the
perfect line. The suit always fits, eventually.
Yeah. Oh, man, dude, you bet I fucking cried like a child in the theater when he said that.
I cackled like a madman.
Yeah. I think that... What was his last cameo? Was it Far From Home, I think, right? I think Spider-Man Far From Home was his last one.
I'm not sure.
It might have been. I think they wanted Spider-Man to be his last one, so they like but I remember he recorded a bunch beforehand that they felt like they could insert into other movies in the future, but I don't think they're going to use them because they wanted Spider-Man to be the last one.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably what he would have gone for. Also, like, just because of how, like, I don't know all the details, but, like, I do know there was a whole thing going on with, like, in the later years of his life, like, Stan Lee suffering from, like, elder abuse and, like, the other owners of his estate, like, basically using him to, like, just drain money out of him and stuff.
Yeah, I mean...
Wikipedia lists his last one as in-game, but that might just be because
they
didn't update it.
His last cameo was in Captain Marvel. You remember? There's even an intro with...
He's reading the script from Mallrats. Which did my head in, by the way. But no, that one came out before Endgame. Well, no. Okay, so think about it this way. He is reading the script to Mallrats. Mallrats is a movie which references him as the creator of Spider-Man. Spider-Man in the MCU will not exist for another 20 years. He will not even be born for at least another decade.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting people to read into it that much.
I know, but that's what people do, especially when they're comic nerds.
That's true. It's Marvel. Yeah, it's a comic book movie. Blah blah blah. Oh, I found this to be interesting too. Each character is like made up of a lot of polygons. They said that each character model took up about 60,000 vertices to model. And the final boss fight against Redacted is rendered with 1 million polygons, which is the most Insomniac has ever used at once.
You can say the Spectacular Spider-Ham. It's okay.
Yeah, it was Spectacular Spider-Ham. So one thing I found really interesting also was that I don't know, like the last boss fight was amazing. I think maybe my favorite one though was the Electro Vulture fight. Because it was so creative.
Yeah.
Like so originally those were two different fights that were one after another. And they said that the game was like too long and that they were trying to cut things down, and they found it difficult because they needed Spider-Man to fight both the Vulture and
you have to have the Sinister Six.
Right, yeah, you got to build that Sinister Six out. And so it says an unknown person at Insomniac had the idea of merging the Vulture and Electro fights, so good. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Whoever you are, shout out. You did a good job. Like, that is such a fucking phenomenal battle. Like, fighting two bosses with such, like, different powers that, like, work so well together at the same time was, like, really cool. I really, really liked that. But I also really loved the fight at the end with, can we say who it was?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hang on, give me a sec. Taking the headphones out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but like I don't know, like I thought the Doc Ock fight at the end was like super super good, especially because of the emotional momentum that led into it and afterwards. Like, but I mean, like it was really fun. Like it had like I don't know, like falling off the building and everything a lot was fun.
It felt like a father-son battle.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
it
much,
did.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
a big theme of Spider-Man, not just Peter Parker, but Spider-Man in general, is losing parental figures, and in one way or another, like finding and losing a parental figure. You know, getting their wisdom.
He does it almost constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I guess let's just wrap it up. I guess, are there enough ghosts in this one?
Wait. We haven't talked about the web swinging in the game.
Oh,
it's so free.
The web swinging,
yeah, it's so free.
Oh, yeah.
You're right.
So good because
it is so good.
Because the web, like it sticks to the building for starters. Like,
specifically,
you
cannot
it's not in the
stick
sky.
to not a building. Yeah.
Yeah.
In non-Spider-Man 2 previous games, a number of them you could just sort of web sling in the middle of nowhere.
Clouds.
Yeah.
God. The Spider-Man 1 game, I think I had that on the original Xbox. Like, I liked it at the time. It was like cool, but then like you literally like if you got like too close to the ground, you would die. You could swing just in the sky, like on the clouds, and like there was no, you just hold R to swing, and it was just like, huh. But like, yeah, the way they made this work was that in this game there are anchor points on all of the buildings, and so your web automatically learns what is the most optimal anchor point for you to attach to when you're swinging, and he hits that one, and it's so phenomenal because like just the physics, it like legitimately, maybe for the first time in my life, I'm saying this seriously, it just works.
Yeah, and the animation, the parkour is also really really good. It was inspired by parkour. yeah, it was clearly thank you, Steve Carell. It was clearly inspired by the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the movie, the intro, the Spider-Man 2 game also, and
so I saw that Insomniac actually cited specifically that a lot of the people working on the team were people who played Spider-Man 2, like what the game when it came out, and now they were working on their own Spider-Man game and we're like that's the one.
I think somebody actually said, I went and I replayed Spider-Man 2 and then I went back and kept reprogramming it until it felt like playing Spider-Man 2.
I respect that.
That's great. Like, yeah, it feels so good. That game, by the way, like I 3 years ago, I want to say I replayed it on the GameCube. Still holds up, phenomenal.
There's actually a video on YouTube when you can see a Spider-Man 2 game designer who tries the game for the first time, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is so cool! This is so amazing! Like all the animation, how he jumps, how he parkours, it's so good."
I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's great. I don't know. This is one of those products that like, and you can even see like, especially because Insomniac was like, no, I want this one. We have the idea. Like, this is such a passionate project from them. Like, you can tell that the people who made this game care about Spider-Man as much as all of us do.
Yeah.
which is just like, I don't know, it's really nice. And so obviously everyone has very high hopes for the Wolverine game, which is also extremely hype.
But I don't have a lot of expectations. But again, okay. I am ready to be proven wrong. I've just seen so many terrible Wolverine games.
Yes, one thing I've heard that...
It's Insomniac. It's just very hard to get the gameplay loop of Wolverine's healing factor and general like durability. It's sort of the problem of making a good Superman game.
Superman, yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
But I think they haven't given me a reason to really doubt that they could do it. I feel like if they're picking Wolverine, it's quite a
I think they have an idea.
It's quite a leap
what I'm hoping
Spider-Man.
For is to see how they make it interesting, rather than.
I feel like they wouldn't pick Wolverine if they didn't have an idea for it, I think.
Yeah.
Right. There are a few small details, like the fact that this game is going to be... I don't think they said it would be like completely linear, but they said it would be more linear than the Spider-Man
can we get a Feral No-Nose Wolverine section then?
A no-nose
There was a
Wolverine?
section in the 90s after Wolverine had his adamantium ripped out of him by Magneto, where his healing factor went really wild, and he was drawn in a more feral state, and it looked like he had no nose.
Ah.
Whoa.
I've not seen this Wolverine, but I like it.
X-Men is my primary, Marvel jam, so I know way too much.
And the tone that they said that the tone that they're taking for this is inspired by Logan, the film, and I believe it's being set in Madripoor, following like similar to a storyline there.
Okay, so that could be the Madripoor era is actually one of the better ones, especially because that was a point where his healing factor was also a little bit on the downswing, so that would explain why he's not super invulnerable. But it would also give you reasons to have legitimate stealth sections, because Wolverine was actually pretending to be a private eye a lot named Patch.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting. Huh. That could be cool.
And it's in the same game universe as Spider-Man.
Yes, that is
which has made Square Enix cry. Obviously, with their Avengers, but yeah.
I sometimes think about like, would I rather have had Insomniac do the Avengers game and make it good, and then I say no, they're doing just fine. Like, it's fine.
I mean, it's funny though that they've obviously been greenlit by Disney to take another Marvel property and make a game of it, because like Disney's like so brand conscious all the time. So I think this indicates
they are like you. Yeah. Yes, you have to and like because of that, and Disney is like Nintendo in that regard, right? Like if they're doing this and they're letting somebody come and take like Wolverine, which is again one of their bigger characters, Insomniac has brought them a very good idea.
Yeah, I'd love to see in the Wolverine. I'd love to see members of Alpha Flight.
I don't know that one.
So
I'm a noob.
Part of Wolverine's backstory is when he was wandering feral after the Weapon X program, he was taken in by a Canadian scientist couple who later on became some of the founding and leading members of the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight. They basically have Canadian Iron Man suits, if that makes sense.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm interested. Also, like finally some love for Canada.
You really should read Alpha Flight. It's ridiculous. It also has Marvel's first canonically gay superhero.
Okay.
Oh, really?
North Star.
Nice. What year was that?
92.
Okay.
When he came out.
I was just thinking like about the whole like green lighting of a Wolverine game. To me, that indicates that Square Enix doesn't have a whole lot of time left with the Avengers property. Maybe.
I don't think that we're going to see another major expansion after the Wakanda one. I think that was kind of the big one they had.
There's the Spider-Man one. The Spider-Man one.
Oh, well, the Spider-Man is just a character. I don't believe they've said that there's an an actual story.
They're
coming
sure as hell
him.
not getting a sequel.
I don't even know if SE's going to have like a Marvel license for very much longer. It depends on how well Mass Effect, Guardians of the Galaxy does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
unfortunately, they kind of shot themselves in the foot with their preview. in E3, which was what 90%. Yeah, that felt like 90% of their.
I am the one person who really liked it because I had no interest in anything else they were showing off.
No,
the
fucking
Chaos game. I wasn't
what
interested.
They actually
in that,
showed us looked good. Yeah. I was just irritated that it was so much of their presentation.
Yeah, they should have been honest. They should have been honest and said, like, this is going to be mostly Guardians, you know? And I think people wouldn't mind. There would be a bit of disappointment, but at least you wouldn't have people tuning in expecting, like, 7 Remake Part 2 and just getting Guardians.
Right. And instead we get Chaos!
Oh, God, that was the worst bit. That was, easily one of the lowlights of E3.
Anyway, we gotta... so let's wrap it up. Thank you guys for... joining us for this episode of GameBusters. I am super... Actually, no, there's one more thing I do want to ask about. Like, what improvements do you guys want to see in Spider-Man 2, now that we know it's coming 2023?
I want to see changes. I don't want any more waypoint missions. Like, the side missions where you have to hit specific, like, loops and follow the specific path. Like, give me a waypoint mission, but let me choose how the hell I'm getting there. I don't want any more of those stupid follow the path things. They were irritating as hell.
Right. And before I forget, let me just say, this and Miles Morales are the only open world games where I never fast traveled. I did not fast travel once in this game.
I fast traveled, but not because I needed to. I fast traveled, I think, once when I had managed to get myself stuck, and once to see what the hell it was like.
Okay, no, totally.
Yeah, the swinging is so good. You can just boot up the game just to swing around the city.
Yes, I have definitely done that. I remember when I brought my PS5 home for Christmas last year, like, I was showing my brother Miles Morales, and I was, like, handed him the controller, and, like, I came back 45 minutes later, and he had just been swinging for 45 minutes.
But I'm trying to remember how I got stuck. I think it was a weird interaction. I was doing one of the Fisk Towers, and I just got the exact right combination of getting knocked into a normally destructible object that was next to a wall, and I just sort of vibrated and fell.
It's a new spider power.
Yeah, honestly, the gameplay is, like, really, really good. They just have to maybe improve the story, but it already has improved in Miles Morales. And what's gonna be interesting is to see how both characters will be balanced, because Miles basically has more powers than Peter Parker, and maybe Peter will use more.
Well, Peter has the spider.
Peter has the stronger spider sense.
Yeah,
and has the engineering know-how.
He will use more gadget, I think.
He's more gadgets, whereas Miles has more powers.
Yes. And I also think, like, obviously Venom will be a big part of it. I also am curious, like, you guys definitely heard Kraven the Hunter, right, in the trailer?
Oh, yeah. I'd love to see some Punisher.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know?
Maybe.
I think that was definitely Kraven. And also, I think the way that the trailer is structured, where Kraven says, like, who can challenge me, and Venom says, like, we will, it makes me feel like Venom is maybe not, like, the bad guy, or maybe not the big bad guy.
He might be playable, but he's... I don't think he's...
I don't know if he's
the primary antagonist. He will probably be an antagonist, but he's definitely, I think, going to be at least playable, because Insomniac has loved having multiple playable characters, or at least playable modes. Because
I'm praying so hard, and I know they haven't said anything about this yet. I've been looking, like, I want so badly for this to be co-op,
but it's not.
Like, this would be, huh?
It's not. They said that it will be a solo experience.
They said it's a single player focused game, is what they said.
I could see them if they have time adding a co-op mode.
Yeah, I'm more curious if it's going to be that you can switch between Miles and Peter on the fly, or it's more mission based or something like that.
So wait, actually that'd be interesting. GTA 5, but for Spider-Man, and you've got Spidey, you've got Peter, you've got Miles, and you've got Eddie.
Yeah, I'm actually interested in that, and, like, I had a thought the other night of, like, it would be kind of interesting if it was like you press a button to, like, switch to Peter from Miles, and, like, Miles just calls Peter on the phone. He's like, hey, Peter, I gotta take care of something. Can you take care of this, like, mission I'm on for me? He's like, yeah, no problem, man. And he jumps out and, like, rolls for it.
That'd be cool.
You know what I mean?
That'd be really cool.
That'd be kind of fun.
I can already see the trailer, like, with the fast SSD of the PS5, you can switch both characters in seconds. Seamlessly, yeah. And by the way, I just remembered that there's a Kraven movie coming in 2023
there
with Aaron Taylor-Johnson playing the main role.
Not the man I would have picked, but we'll see
I don't
how it
know.
is.
We will see.
Also, I would also not have picked Jared Leto play Morbius, so what do I
know? No. This is even worse, no.
Although Tom Hardy doing okay. Don't hate that
He's
decision.
having fun with it. You can tell.
I mean, it's not the most against type character he's ever played. That would be Jean-Luc Picard.
No. What was that one?
Star Trek Nemesis. He was.
Of course.
Jean-Luc Picard's clone. Shinzon.
Oh my god, that was. I always forget that.
They honestly, I would love for them, honestly, if they continue on with the new universe at all for Star Trek, for them to do a next generation reboot with him playing a slightly younger Picard.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting for sure. And man, I think Tom Hardy, like, also, oh man, I don't know, like, I think I still think that his performance in the Revenant, like, was one of, like, my favorite, like, movie performances ever. Like, he, like, fucking blew me away in that movie. Like, Leo was okay.
His one movie he got an Oscar for, and you're just gonna write him off. I know.
Okay. Dude, it's hilarious that's the one he got the Oscar for, because, like, I thought it was, like, it was
you
good,
don't get the Oscar
like,
for like, a movie you're good in. You get the Oscar because the Academy decides you've been in enough good movies.
That's true. Good. All right.
Look, maybe he will play. Maybe he will play Speedball in.
Tom Hardy would he'd make a great Penance, which is the name that Speedball chooses to go by later when he thinks that he's accidentally murdered a lot of people.
When he realizes his name is a drug that killed Philip Seymour.
No, there is actually a plot point where Speedball, the superhero, is essentially somebody makes him think that he's killed a whole bunch of people, so he makes a super suit for himself that has like a bunch of little tiny knives on the inside of it, so that he's constantly in pain while he's using his powers, and he calls himself Penance.
Vinci Code fucking shit is this?
Not real. You're making this up.
I am not. Look at the Marvel.
You can
look.
Was that Venom just talking about?
I'm not making this up, Peter.
No, seriously, look at the Robert Baldwin link that I linked you to in the chat. It will go through that. It's ridiculous.
To be fair, though, like, metaphorically speaking, Peter Parker in the Raimi movies does kind of have, like, knives digging into him whenever he exists. Not even just with the suit on. His life fucking really sucks. So he might as well have the knife suit.
He's got sort of social knives digging into him all the time, too.
It's like whenever he hasn't got the suit on, it's awful.
Right. Okay, so we are at an hour and a half. We definitely got to wrap up now. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Alexi, are you working on anything you want to plug?
No, you can follow me on YouTube for my guitar covers. More are coming.
Oh, they are very good.
Yeah,
you should do that.
Oh, thank you.
What's your YouTube channel?
Yeah. You can. It's my username, Alexis Aki. You can just copy and paste it on your YouTube, and you will see some covers on Sonic, Dragon Ball Z, and more covers coming in the upcoming months. Yeah.
Nice. Tim, what you working on?
Secret things. Maybe some more console tours finally. I don't know.
Ooh. That would be good. Hey, that is a great reminder that we do have videos on our YouTube channel coming again now. What?
Yeah.
Go check them out.
I might try and do some streaming things, but no promises on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of streaming too. I was thinking I might actually do something tonight. But Jess has been streaming Demon Souls, and that's she's making her way through the game like way more efficiently than I tried to. It's really something, because like I think that in the same amount of time that it took me to get sort of to the first boss, she's already like past like maybe 5 times farther than where I was. So I'm not good at the games, I don't think.
That can be a handicap.
It's a handicap.
I believe
sure.
the cure is
Rhi,
to get good.
Oh, it's been a while since I heard that one. What have I been doing? I still haven't finished that interview. I think I mentioned last week with the project lead from the Fallout London mod. That should be up this week. It kind of going to Scotland kind of got in the way of me writing that. I was hoping to get it done first, but work's been mental, so I haven't. That should be up sometime this week. I'm sort of got the first draft ready now, and it's actually really fucking interesting. So I would recommend checking that out when it's live on thegamer.com.
Okay, awesome. I don't think I have anything crazy right now. I might, if you want to hit up my YouTube channel or like Twitch, they're both at Gondeezy. But I think I might finish out my I was doing a Dishonored Death of the Outsider like nightmare ghost run last year, which I never finished. So I might continue that. I think because Dishonored is the only game I'm good at to some exceptional level that people might want to watch it. So come check that out.
When can we see your clean hands, flesh and steel ghost run of Dishonored 2?
I don't want to do a Flesh and Steel run. Sounds boring and dumb.
It is not.
I respect that.
I mean, it is.
I know.
It is
I'll do
not
one
as
eventually.
over the top ridiculous as any non-Flesh and Steel run, but you actually have to think. You have to be very, very good, and it's very fun to do.
Yeah. I have done a Nightmare Clean Hands ghost run of Dishonored 2 and 1 before. So, but just not on video. But maybe I'll do that. All right, so let's head out of here. How do we get out of here? We should all say Spider-Man's catchphrase at the same time.
I'm coming, Mary Jane. He says that a lot in the.
Yeah, during sex.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
As soon as the words left my mouth, I was like, "Fuck, Rhiannon, what'd you just say?"
Do you want his catchphrase or his slogan?
Let's do catchphrase.
Oh shit! I nearly died.
Let's all count down. Oh my god, I just like want. What is it that he always says when he's like flying around? He's like, "I'm a spider." Is that what he says?
It's just me, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Oh, right. That is a real one. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back next week, and who knows what will be on the horizon. What games will people be angry at next week?
Horizon, maybe. No.
We did Horizon.
I know, but maybe they'll be mad at it now.
Because people were mad at it.
The Life is Strange FPS cap on console, that people are angry about that right now. Oh, and God of War. God of War has a fat person in it, and people are angry at that. So let's go with that.
God of War has a fat person might be the next one.
Yeah, unfortunately. Stay mad about that, gamers, and we'll talk about God of War.
Well, yeah, we'll be back. Please stay mad about it for, I think, 11 more days, and we'll get this out to you.
With great games comes great podcasts.
He just looks a little bland. That's the only problem.
I think he looks cool.
He needs to be hairier.
Who cares if he's a little fat? He needs a better beard.
He needs chest hair. I mean, but most male character models could be improved with chest hair, especially for.
Okay.
It's weird that like no male models of characters in games have chest hair. Like none of them.
Peter Parker does. He has 3.
What?
Yeah. He makes a joke about when he gets his suit damaged. I don't want people to see my 3 chest hairs. And then when you get his, in his skinny suit later, he only has 3.
Yeah. That's amazing.
You're just saying that,
Nirav,
you're just saying that because you're jealous of Shadow, the Hedgehog. He has so much hair chest.
That's what
you're right.
male performance
Sonic and
looks
Shadow
like.
have so much chest hair.
Well, no, Sonic's is
Well, like Shadow specifically has like actual chest hair, and like of course that's the ideal male form.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to talk about it in detail. Everyone knows that.
Sonic is ashamed of it, and he's gone too hard on the manscaping. He's embarrassed of the chest hair.
We're back
that's
to
why he can be so quick.
We have to stop. Yeah, we have to stop the podcast.
Goodbye. Please get out while you can. Bye.
Oh, it was fun.
All right.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just like imagine in the Batman Arkham game, like Batman is like, I have to go back to the Batcave, and then just after that you play Alfred